What is good, people? Welcome back to another episode of Drive Time Crypto with me, Crypto Chris. And coming up on today's episode, we are going to have a look at the last couple of days of the Helium network, what updates they've been doing, how that could affect the network, how that could affect you in the terms of a hotspot owner, and what is happening on the blockchain. But just before I get started, guys, if you're new around here and you like this content when you're watching it, please, if I could ask you to give me a like, a comment, or even better, if you could subscribe to my channel if you not already have done, that would be great, as it helps me grow my community. And if you are a returning viewer, hey, how you doing? It is great to see you again. With that being said, let's start the video. So on Monday, the Helium network put out a update saying, good morning Helium community, the network stabilized over the weekend with an average of 170 receipts per block. Over the past 24 hours, about 160,000 hotspots beaconed, and witnesses continue to be the bulk of the mining for a hotspot. 78% of online hotspots have mined HNT in the last 24 hours. This, of course, means that 22% of hotspots have not mined HNT in the last 24 hours, which brings us to the updates this week. So, and the updates this week, they were going to talk about the hotspot flatlines and no activity. They're also going to be talking about activating chain variables this week and when removing chain sync. But basically, the chain sync one, I'm not going to touch in this video because we're not there at the moment. So, yesterday at 20 to 5 my time, which is Greenwich Mean Time, we get another update. Good morning, Helium. We have optimistic news today that thanks to help provided by one of our own community members, with their help, the core team was able to root the cause of flatline that some hotspots have been seen since the activating light hotspots. To explain it simply, on a hotspot, one of the low-level processes that is used when connecting to a challenger stalls and never returns, since there is no timeout explicitly set. This fix is to add a default timeout and a monitor so it knows to wake back up. So yeah, this is the problem that's been happening when the validators have been putting out challenges. The hotspots have beaconed and gone to accept that challenge, but then there's been this blockage, and then when that's happened, there's been no sort of reset button, and that's when it leaves the hotspot in this perpetual state, basically. So they said that they're going to work on this update and test it on the testnet and on the mainnet on the alpha and beta hotspots, and then when they're confident about it, what they're going to do is they're going to then push it out to the hotspot manufacturers and tell them that it's an urgent and mandatory update, and then they will send it down to the hotspots accordingly. So yesterday at 10 p.m. my time, we get another update, and this is next steps for the flatlining fix. So they've said that the core team will send the fix to testnet and mainnet, and they're happy with that. They've got a big green tick next to it, and then they've got a big green tick next to tag the build for hotspot makers as urgent and mandatory. So that's basically saying that the update's there and it's good to go. So if we have a look at SenseCap, and you can see there just before 10 o'clock that the announcement they made, the core developers have tagged a new minor release. This release is mandatory for all hotspot makers. I don't need to carry on going along into the message. Basically, they're just explaining what it's for, and I've just covered that. On Rack as well, you can see yesterday at, well, 1:45 in the morning, the Nova team issued a new miner core update, which addresses a timeout issue that was caused some miners to flatline. And if we check Bobcat, and it's actually their latest announcement, which was today, which is quite some time after SenseCap announced it for theirs, and when Helium had said that they put it out. Nevertheless, they've said that they basically pushed out the over-the-air update at 10 p.m. on the 24th, which was yesterday. It's just taken them quite some time to announce it, which is a bit weird, really. You thought that they'd keep their community up to date a bit quicker. But nevertheless, if we go back now to the Helium Discord to have a look what other updates they're doing. So basically that was it for the hotspot fix for the flatline. I suppose the time taken now, the data will show whether that's improving or not. Hopefully, we will see 100% of the hotspots actively mining HNT over a 24-hour period. We'll just have to keep an eye on that, and I'm sure that they'll update us. But nevertheless, the next update that they did to us for us was at 7:20 today, and it says, "Good morning, Helium community. The core team is preparing to activate 7 chain variables related to validator performance, HIP17 hotspot interactivity, and H3 DEX. As a reminder, the HIP17 chain variable looks to prevent starving out rewards for less dense hotspot areas. This should not affect the majority of hotspot owners. The outcome of this will be stabilized rewards for less dense hotspot areas. So if you're in an area where you are almost like a lone wolf, but not a lone wolf, but there is very sporadic hotspots around you, then this, I think, is going to be of interest for you. So they're hoping that the outcome of the activating the validator chain variable will be improved block times, faster receipt validation, and network stability. So yeah, they're now focusing on the validator performance as well. The fine tuning the hotspots, and the looking at improving the validators. So moving on from that, only 17 minutes later, and the announcement was proof of coverage impact when H3 DEX is activated. In our testnet test of activating the H3 DEX chain variable, the team saw a decrease in proof of coverage activity for a number of blocks. We expect between 10 and 20 blocks on mainnet. You will see this drop on the dashboard.helium.com, and this is expected, but as always, the team will let you know when we expect the network to return to normal flowing activation. So if we go and have a look on the dashboard, as we said, and as you can see, it's fairly consistent with the block time, and then you see this big spike there. And where you see this big spike there, it's basically what I'm interpreting that as is that when they're trying these new things out, and they said that you're going to see a slowdown in block production. This part over here on the dashboard, that's how long it's taking for a block to be produced. So when you see a big spike there, that doesn't mean that lots of blocks are being produced. That just means that it's taken a hell of a lot longer to produce the block, and that essentially is a block slowdown. So now that we've seen this spike in a block production, and this may be because the network's having some slight issues with larger, chunkier blocks coming through, and the validators are taking some time to get, well, basically validate them. So when you look at that last spike, what's a bit concerning is that you see that flat line afterwards. And if I go back to the Helium update, I'll just go back there 2 seconds, and what's happened is the chain has halted at block 1368539, and unfortunately the core devs and validator operators continue to monitor block production as we're currently halted. Validator operators in the consensus group are now gathering information to see if there's anything immediately actionable at this time. Hotspot owners and other network participants, please stand by. Payments, proof of coverage, and other chain activity will be delayed until the consensus group can start producing blocks again. And then they've updated, how long ago was that? 20 minutes ago. Although the consensus group has produced block, that number, we are still monitoring the chain as it processes a very large block, taking some validators 10 plus minutes to validate and move forward to the next block. The core developers and validator operators continue to monitor the chain. So basically, yeah, as they're trying these new fixes out as the testing stuff, sometimes the outcome is that they end up with ridiculously large blocks, and that is taking a long time to process. So the chain momentarily halted, but like they said, they've processed it and they're making the way through. It's just one of them things at the moment, and I expect the block height to continue growing again any moment if they've processed it. They're just obviously waiting for the validators to catch up. So that's where we are up until now. If I carry on having a look on the dashboard, I just thought what I'll do is I'll have a look back to the 11th of May, and I'll bring the dashboard all the way up to this present moment, and just to, because sometimes when you're looking at stuff, if you're looking at it a very focused way and you're trying to see if there's any improvements and you're not thinking that there's any improvements, sometimes it's good to put your foot on the ball, take a step back and have a look at the bigger picture. Now, if we have a look at the transaction rates, as you can see, the transaction rates were up at nearly 1,000 at the 11th, and then the hotspot activation came in, and then we've got the really messy period around here. If you're not looking at the screen at the moment, it's from the 12th of May right round to the 17th, when they were really scratching their head trying to work it out. And then from there, from the 17th to the 21st, it was fairly stable, the transaction rate. Then we had some more turbulent times, and this is when they're trying to figure stuff out and they're trying to update stuff, and inevitably it causes some issues on the blockchain, because it's never going to be as smooth. They're trying to, as they squash one thing, it produces another thing, and they're just trying to work it out at the moment. But nevertheless, after that, the transaction rates have gone back stable again. Granted, they're not back where they were before, but they're stable. And again, if we look at the proof of coverage rate, for a start, the no witness count has gone back to being flat. That is a major one, because as you can see, as the update came in, it got really turbulent. The no witness, nobody was seeing anything. Then it flatlined even more, and then it was spiking on the proof of coverage, and it was all over the place. And from the 17th to the 21st, it was still quite wavy, and there was no real settled period. But then, as you can see, from about halfway through the 21st of May up until present, it's been stable. The blockchain's been stable, and again, you can see it on the witness count there as well. It's just reiterating what I've just said, but on a different metric. But I think the key point to take away from here is that the chain is stabilizing. Now, I know that I'm going to have people watching this video going, yes, but I've still not seen anything, and I empathize with you, and I hope that your hotspot does get some action soon. I know that when I've looked around the community, when I've been on the different forums, when I've been on the Discord, you are starting to see a lot more people say, yeah, I'm starting to see life at my hotspot. So take from this that at least it's becoming stable and they're starting to work on it. And then once it's stable and they go, yeah, you know what, this is, then they can start fine tuning it and turning it up. If they just keep on trying to throw out brash updates or anything like that, then we're going to go back to this time where it was just completely chaotic and up and down, and the results were all over the place. So as always, when you're in chaotic times, the best thing to do is try and steady the ship first before changing the path. Now I feel like they've steadied the ship, and they're going to slightly change the path here, then change the path there, while all increasing the rates as they're going up, hopefully, and we'll see the network back to how it was sometime soon. Don't forget, on my last video as well, guys, I did say that on one of the updates that they were envisioning a 3 to 4 week period, and that was only a matter of days ago. So we're very much not out the woods yet. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be the overnight fix, but I just thought I'd show you that there is pluses and there is positives, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, positives to take away from it, that we're now seeing some sort of stability, even though we're currently not producing blocks, but that's for something else. So if I go on to the Explorer, just to have a look there, and in the past 24 hours, there has been 476,000 hotspots that have been rewarded, HNT, and there is 452,000 hotspots that have witnessed. So that's over half the network in the last 24 hours, and there's been 168,000 hotspots that have beaconed. So it's around the same metrics as it was when I put my last update out, which you might say, well, it's not an improvement though. We're still around the same marks. We're not moving out this window. But they are producing updates and it's not gone down though. So, you know, it might not have gone up, but it's not gone down, and that's the positives. We've got to take the positives away from this at the moment while we're just waiting for everything to work itself out. If we have a look at the validators as well, and if I just hover over the green bar, that'll show me that 3,361 validators are currently on the latest version, meaning that you've got a very, very small amount. If I just hover over there, I think it's less than 100 validators aren't on the most up-to-date version. So the validators are running the most up-to-date version. Your hotspots have been delivered over the air updates to help it help fix the flatline. So hopefully we will see some more action in the next 24 hours, because don't forget as well, the manufacturers have got to push it out, and they can't just push it out all at once. It's a process where hotspots get updated over a roughly about a 24-hour period, so it's not going to be instantaneous that everybody gets updated, and that means that the results aren't going to be instantaneous either. So yeah, it's looking positive. They are identifying stuff, they are fixing stuff, they are still very much active on Discord, letting us know. So I'm still very positive about it. Now, when I say I'm very positive about it, that just means that one person's perspective is positive. So what I did is, a couple of days ago, I just put out another poll on Reddit that I just wanted to see what the sentiments were, and this time it was quite a mixed bag. That the even results with the majority of the votes were split over three choices. So there was short-term concern, long-term concerned, which produced the biggest result this time, and then of 57 votes. The short-term concerned, long-term bullish produced 53 votes, and no concern and long-term bullish produced 42 votes. So the ones that are long-term positive take the majority of it, which is always good, nice to see that. On the whole, just granted, again, this is just one of the polls that I've done, but on that poll, it's showing that on the whole, people are long term. They understand that this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. This is here for longevity. We're looking at Helium network for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. But the long term vision is the majority of people still think that there's no concern. It's going to be good. The network's going places. The value of the network is going to go up as more adoption. So yeah, I just wanted to end on that, because I think that's a bit of positive that, yeah, even if your hotspot isn't doing anything or you are concerned, you're not the only one. But if you're thinking we will get through this and it'll be good, you are in the majority camp. With that being said, I've just realised that this video's gone on far longer than I wanted to. I've maybe divulged and gone off on a tangent towards the end, and I do apologise about that. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up now, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you have, please, guys, like I said, if you could give me a like, a comment, or a subscribe if you've not already done so, that would be really appreciated. And I can't wait to see you on the next video. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.